Hi everyone, this is Kamal. Welcome to my channel Understand Tech here. Function is one of the most important features in programming. Yet, I see a lot of students struggling with this feature. I have been teaching C programming for many years. When I explain function in my classes, in the way I have explained in this video, I have never seen students not understanding function. After watching this video, you might well say, why our teacher didn't explain functions as explained in this video. So please watch this video and I'm pretty sure it will make basics of functions absolutely clear to you. So let's start. So first of all, what's a function? A function is a block of codes that can be given a name and if required can be called using the name given to it in another functions. Well, the definition of function might not make much sense to you at this stage, so let's look at an example. It's a really simple program written without using function. I'm going to write this program using function later on. So it's a simple program. As you can see, all it has is a bunch of printf statements. What you get if you run this program? This is what you get. I have used a simple program called Quincy 2005 to compile and run this program. This is the program without using functions. I have copied this program here. Now let's modify this program to use function. Let's remove code printf whole months Jan February from here to below outside main. Let's give this piece of code some name, say display whole months. Giving just name is not sufficient. In fact, this is what you need to write. I will later on explain extra things that I have written here. Now we say the code is inside a function display whole month. Let's also remove code printf hot months June July from here and place it below outside main. Again, let's give this piece of code some name, say display hot months. As I said earlier, just giving name is not sufficient. In fact, this is what you need to write. Now we say this code is inside function display hot months. Now we had earlier removed code from here, right, and place it in a function called display whole month. Now let's type the name of function here. Similarly, here we had earlier removed code and place it in function called display hot months. Now let's type the name of function here. Beside this, you need to add this thing at the top. I'm going to explain these things a bit later on. Well, now you have rewritten the program using functions. Complete these two programs and see how can you write programs using functions. Okay, fine. We have rewritten the program using functions. But what happens when you run or execute this program? Always remember, computer first looks for main, and here is main. Now computer executes the first line in main. Our next line is display whole months. This is a function call. Now, very fundamental rule of function. When there is a function call, computer looks for a function with that name and goes to the place where the function with that name is. Don't get confused here. In our everyday life, when you call someone, that person comes to you. Called one comes to caller, right? But in programming, it is exactly the other way around. Caller goes to the called one. So from this point, computer goes to this point. Clear? Now inside the function display call month, there is one line. Because of this, you will get call month in a screen. There is no more things to do here. Now another fundamental rule of functions. If function is not returning anything after executing whatever is inside a function, computer returns to the next line from where the function was called. Hence, after executing line printf call month Jan February, computer returns from this point to this point. So is it clear? Then computer executes next line, which is this. After this, computer goes to the next line, which is again a function call. So as we said earlier, when there is a function call, computer looks for a function with that name and goes to the place where the function with that name is. So from this point, computer goes to this point. Now inside function display hot month, there is only one line. Computer executes this line and computer returns to this point. So this is how function execution occurs. Remember, functions has three main parts: call, definition, and prototype. So this part is function definition, function call. This part is function definitions. This part is called function definition because when you call a function, this part defines what should happen. Remember, you cannot have functions of you cannot have definition of one function inside definitions of another functions. This part is called function prototype or declarations. Again, I will explain it a bit later on. One of the problems you have while using function is sometimes you have value in variables of one function and you want to use that value in another function. Let's see how you could have this problem and what you can do to overcome this problem. This is a program with no functions used. I have copied this program here. Okay. Now, let's modify this program to use functions. As I explained previously, let's remove this line from here and place it below outside main. Let's give this piece of code some name, say find square. Giving just name is not sufficient. In fact, this is what you need to write. Now we say the code is inside function find square. Now we had earlier removed code from here, right, and place it in the function called find square. Now let's type the name of the function here. Beside this, you need to add these things at the top. Okay, now we have rewritten the program using the functions. But how does this program runs or execute? As we said, computer first looks for main. So here is main. Now computer starts executing whatever is inside main. One statement after another statement. Now computer reaches find square. This is function call. Remember, we earlier said when there is a function call, computer looks for a function with that name and goes to the place where the function with that name is. So from this point, computer goes to this point. Now, compiler sees variable called square and number. Here is one of the main rule in functions. Variables defined in one functions are not known and therefore cannot be used in another functions. Now variables number and square are defined in main. They are not defined in functions. So compiler is going to complain in a big way. What kind of variables are these? I have no idea. So you have a problem. Now let's revisit the program again. Compiler had problems with variable square and number, right? Variables square numbers are defined in main, not in functions. So because of this, you get compiler errors. Now let's change this program and add this line. Now compiler has no problem with variable square and number, as they are now both defined inside function itself. But the question is, what happens when computer runs or executes this program? Again, as we said earlier, computer looks for main, and here is our main. Computer starts executing a statement inside main, and computer reaches here. This is a function call. So from this point, computer comes to this point. Number is mentioned here. Now look carefully. We have two variables having name number. So the number here refers to this variable or this one. Well, you could perhaps guess the number does not refer to variable in main. Instead, it refers to variable in function. It's just like we selfish human, isn't it? We look our own interest first, then only others. While calculating square 2, you have a problem. Your number, as we just said, refers to variable in functions, but this variable does not have a value entered by user. So square is not calculated correctly. Now what happens? When you try to display square, so what happens? Right here. Note again, there are two variables having name square. By now you can tell, while trying to display, square variables refers to variable in main, not variable in function. But variable square in main does not have the correct value. In fact, correct value is in variable square in functions. So correct square value is not displayed here. So declaring variable square and number again in function solved compiler problem, but you didn't get the right result. So what to do? So this was the program. We had problems while trying to use value that is in variable of one functions in another functions. Let's modify this program. In place of this, let's write this. Note here, we are introducing a new feature in functions. To write a variable inside two brackets in a function call, like this, is to pass a value in that variable. This feature is called pass by value in programming. So when computer goes from this point to this point, value in variable number, let's say it is 5, also travels. Now we have another problem. Value has come from main to functions, as you can see. However, there isn't place to keep value. So we need to create a place to keep value. For this, we need to change our program and write this. If we do this, the value that has come from main will be stored in variable number. Note, this variable number in function has absolutely no relations to a variable number in main. In fact, if we had named variable number, say A, like this, it would have been still fine. But let's leave as it was. Now when compiler sees square, it will complain, you have to do this. But the bigger problem is still here. When you try to display square, variable square is referring to variable square in main, but actual value is in variable square of functions. So what to do? To solve this problem, we need to add this. This is a returning value mechanism. So what happens is, when a function returns to the place from where it was called, the value in variable square, which is 25 in this case, also travels like this. Well, problem is still not over yet. The value from function has come to main, but we haven't kept that value in variables. So this is what you need to do. Now the value that has come to main, which is 25, will be stored in variable square. We need to make change here. Earlier this function wasn't returning anything, that's why we had written void. So if function does not return anything, in that case you write void. But now it's returning integer type value, so you need to write instead of void you need to write int. Similarly, we need to make change in function's prototype at the top as well. So before it was this, before it wasn't, the function wasn't returning anything. Before we hadn't passed any value, but now we are passing value. We are passing value of integer type. Therefore, this is what you need to write. Note, when you pass a value, it goes from calling functions to the called functions, while when you return a value, it goes from a called functions to a calling functions. And remember, you can pass more than one values, but you can only return one values. Let's dig a little bit deeper, shall we, and see what really happens when you declare variables, what really happens when you pass and return values, and when you return value in variables. Remember, all open documents and data that are currently being used are in RAM. Logically, you can think of RAM as a device having many locations to store data, like this. Each location has a location number just like rooms in a hotel can have a room number. This location number is called address. Now let's see what really happens when you declare a variable. When you do int number, some location in memory is reserved or allocated for you. Let's say this memory is reserved. Now you can refer and use these locations through the name number. Remember, by saying int number, we are telling computer that you want to store integer type of data in this location. Similarly, when you do int square, again some memory will be reserved. Let's say this memory is reserved. Now you can refer and use this memory through name square. Now let's say you enter 5. Generally, you say 5 is stored in variable number. But what's really happening is 5 is being stored in locations to which earlier we had given name number. So 5 is actually stored here. Now there is a function called right here. From here, computer goes to this point. Here again, because of int number, our location is reserved. Name of this location will be number. Earlier we were saying when we pass value from main to function, this happens. In fact, what really happens when you pass value from main to function is value from location pointed by variable number of main goes to location pointed by variable number of functions. So this is what really happens. Again, when computer sees int square, it reserves locations. Say this location is reserved and the name of this location will be square. Now you can tell when you say 25 is in variable square, it is in location whose name is square. So 25 will be here. When value in square is written, we say this happens. But what's really happening is, as explained above, value from memory location pointed by square variable in function goes to location pointed by square variable in main. So this is what really happens. This concludes our discussions about functions in C programming. So how's today's video? Please leave your comments and suggestions below. I'll be posting videos like this on various programming topics. So please do consider subscribing to my channel. So this was for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in next one.